What's going on, y'all? I've got some sick buffs for all three Lycanroc forms. All three now have a new dual typing, which they genuinely should have, in my opinion, in vanilla. This isn't like a ROM hack moment where it's like, oh, everything has to be dual type. I really do think that these are some of the few Pokemon who really should have been dual type. So before I get into explaining the really cool ability synergies, all three of them have their own unique boosting ability. They all share Intimidate and Sturdy, which is both, obviously really good utility. But Hustle, Reckless, and Ruthless are both basically all new abilities because of all the cool new move synergies that exist with those abilities. So definitely stay tuned. I'll explain all that in just a second. But before I get into explaining it, I need to have an important disclaimer for any new viewers. Appreciate y'all clicking on the video. Really does mean a lot. Shout out to you. Make sure you drop a comment, drop a like. Let me know if you're new here. It's good for me to know, just like my demographics and stuff, right? So something really important, if you look at the screen right now, I know it's all stretched out because of the way that I had to zoom out to fit the Lycanrocs on the screen, but I have a Google Sheet link down below. So if you're new here, I recommend you pause the video and read the description. I've got a bullet point list explaining the background information about the ROM hack, which is really important to knowing how the game functions. But when you're done with the video, you can look at the move guide, which is this link right here on the Google Sheet, and I have every single move categorized in the game into these categories. Super, super useful, super important, super good for your convenience to understand the game. So give all that a look when you're done with the video. But with all that being said, yeah, normal, fighting, dark. So normal type and dark type should be extremely obvious. I'm not even going to waste my time explaining them because they make perfect sense. Fighting type is, so of course, I had a couple options. I was actually at some point considering making a custom Dusk form and calling it like Dawn form instead, and then I made it Ice type. I think that would be kind of cool, like a rock ice wolf. I think that'd be really sick. But I think a lot of people like Dusk form, and so I figured I'd leave him in the game. A lot of people specifically like the fighting color, the orange colors on him. So if you go to the Pokedex, it talks about Dusk form being the hardest to train, I believe. Yeah, an intense fighting spirit underlies its calmness. So yeah, a ferocious fighting spirit. Calm and ferocious qualities. It's the most troublesome to raise, but the perfect thing here is that it just says it's a ferocious fighting spirit. So there you go. That's why it's fighting type. It literally says fighting spirit, and it also fits his color scheme and stuff too. And just overall vibes, right? Because Midday form is like the most normal looking or standard. However, so some people who don't know anything about this ROM hack and aren't able to like grasp, the hustle moves and how good hustle is in this game, will look at normal form and be like, that fucking sucks. It's dog shit. Why would I ever touch it? Because it's normal type, and normal type is so bad. Oh my god, it's 4 times weak to to fighting, guys. What is it? It's a shitmon. It dies to Monk Punch. It's so bad. But anyway, I'm being sarcastic. It was not obvious. Hustle is great in this ROM hack. So not only is Midday, so Midday form, I'll be transparent, is my favorite. So it might seem like the most overtuned out of the three if you're like a knowledgeable person, but I also just I wanted to beat the allegations of being boring, because I know a lot of people are going to look at it and be like, oh, why would I ever use that? There's the cool fighting type and there's the cool werewolf dark one, right? And also a lot of people are like inherently going to be turned off by Hustle because they don't know that it's changed in this game and they don't bother reading that it is changed. But Hustle is significantly reworked. So Hustle, there are tons of moves that straight up don't miss, which are really important, which I'll get into in just a second. But outside of those moves, you can also just slap on a wide lens and never miss. So any 100% accurate move with the buffed 25% wide lens means you won't miss. Any move, straight up, literally any move. Stone Edge, Rock Slide, all those moves are 100% accurate now too. So yeah, super strong. He actually, all three of them are basically the same power, roughly. Technically, Dusk form is weaker because the other two get 50% boost from their abilities. Midday form is the fastest and gets a 50% boost on every move. However, you have to hold Wide Lens or have to use certain moves, right? And not to mention, with the infinite ability changer, you're supposed to be switching between your abilities. You're still going to be abusing Intimidate or Sturdy, especially Sturdy. And Intimidate is always good. It's literally always good. It's never not going to be good. Especially on Midnight form with Parting Shot, but in general, it's just good. You can get pivots, you can use your resistances to your advantage, or just take hits you wouldn't otherwise be able to take, although Sturdy is also really good for that. And you can also do some like agility stuff as well with Sturdy and Weakness Policy, for example. That's pretty crazy. So yeah, Midday form, Hustle. So the main star of the show for Hustle, outside of that wide lens buff, which again is already, like, that's enough. I don't even have to talk about the other shit, really. Like, that's already good enough. However, every single priority move in the game will not miss. And Midday form, which is normally the fastest in vanilla and also normally has Sand Rush, which the other two don't have. Clearly the Game Freak intends for Midday form to be the fastest, and I agree. Design-wise, I think it makes sense. Dusk form is more of like a well-rounded, like, better bulk, but it's slower. And of course, it has the quote-unquote better, quote-unquote, offensive typing, and it has Reckless, which is really good with Head Smash and takedown, which is 120 power recoil with reckless. Without reckless, it's 100 power, but it's 120 with reckless. 168 power head smash. You've got play rough, wild charge, and health thrust, and strength, and all these other good recoil moves. Double edge even early on, level 35. So yeah, reckless is great. Fighting type is obviously great. Rock fighting on a fast Pokemon is great. And then midnight form is the slowest, but I mean, regardless, both Dusk and Midnight are going to be using Scarf a lot of the time anyways, or priority moves a lot of the time anyways. So it's not really that big of a difference. And also midnight form is bulkier. It also, I believe, has the most resist out of the 3. There's no rock normal I can look at in Vanilla, but it's the same as pure rock, just with a ghost immunity and a 4 times fighting weakness. So yeah, poison, fire, normal, flying versus so wait, poison, hold on, that's 4. And you have an immunity to ghost. So 4 plus 1 immunity. Psychic, so yeah, dark form has another immunity as well. So you're either immune to ghost or psychic, depending on which of those two you pick. And you have, yeah, I was correct, rock dark has the most resists. I'm pretty sure fighting rock has the least. Am I lying? 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope. Rock fighting actually has, wait, the same amount of resist? Can I not do math? Huh. Yeah, they actually have the same amount of resist. However, they both have immunities, while rock fighting doesn't. So anyways, they're all pretty equal, right? They all have their own pros and cons. Really, it's just up to the point in the game you're at, your preferred play style, your other teammates. Honestly, if it was up to me, the game was designed to just pick the Pokemon you like the most, right? So I would just go with the form you think looks the coolest, or the form that you like the playstyle of the most, or you like the moves, you know, if you like Hustle, Reckless, or Ruthless the most. It's really just up to your personal preference. I wouldn't focus too much on which one's better or worse, but I do also have to keep that in mind, because if one is like objectively better, then people are going to go towards that one. But in this game, I balance all branched evolutions and optional evolutions to be on equal footing. So yes, midday form is the fastest, and the crazy thing with midday form is not only is it the fastest and it has this really strong hustle, it also has stab fake out and stab extreme speed that do not miss with hustle, which is crazy. It is incredibly strong, right? I mean, if you think about it in like vanilla terms, it's like fucking E-Killer Arceus, but with a choice band. Literally, it's the same attack stat, it gets stab. However, fake out and extreme speed don't miss, which means hustle is drawback free. It's just a 50% attack boost with no drawback. So it is extremely powerful, which is why extreme speed is very late in the game. And Fake Out even is no longer on evolution. It's slightly later. You have to wait a little bit for Fake Out because it's just so strong, although Fake Out at 35 is still pretty early, very early. So yeah, Fake Out into like Quick Attack and Accelerock is great. Keep in mind, yes, Accelerock also doesn't miss, neither does Quick Attack, and then of course Extreme Speed is strictly better than Quick Attack. Other crazy hustle normal type moves on Midday form are Last Resort and then Flail and Reversal. Obviously Reversal's not normal, but you get the point. Flail is fucking nuts. If you run like Endure, Salac, I mean, honestly, Flail's also good with Sturdy. If you want to do like weakness policy Sturdy Flail, but or you know, Sturdy, Salac, Swords Dance Flail, that's great. You get +1 speed, you outspeed the entire game at +1, no effort, and then you get +2 attack from SD, and you outspeed everything, and you just kill everything with Flail. And the best thing is you can even go for E-Speed on the Quick Claw Pokemon, so any AI that has Quick Claw, which is a single-use consumable, you E-Speed them. If they're frail or they're neutral to it and you have +2 attack, they're probably dying, hopefully. So that's really good. And you even have like Rock Blast to cheese Focus Sash. You also have like Pummel and Wallop and Fury Swipe, so you could do some loaded dice stuff. The point is, Midday form, very, very cheesy when it comes to sweeping. All of them can still do the sweeping stuff, like all of them have sturdy agility, right? So all of them can go crazy, but that fucking 200 base power, no missing stab flail is nuts with hustle. Nuts. And Last Resort is also insane. Last Resort. So the downside of Last Resort is that it can't be used twice in a row. With Move Relearner, there's no downside to like having to delete your moves because you can just reteach them for the next fight. But yeah, Last Resort is fucking crazy. It's 140 power, but it always crits. Honestly, it's a bit of favoritism. I wasn't going to give it to him, but he gets it in vanilla, and it fits really well, and I like him a lot, so I figured to throw it on there for the end game. Keep in mind, these are all end game tools, right? So that's worth keeping in mind, but yeah, very, very, very strong. 140 power. It's 210 power, doesn't miss with hustle, and you can use Fake Out first, too. The downside, of course, is that you cannot, like, if you're going to go for Fake Out Last Resort, you have to switch out after that. You can't you can then switch back in, you know, you can pivot back in, but you can't just spam that Last Resort. You have to switch out at least, which is fair. Especially without in Sweltering Sun, there's an infinite use eject button, but in this game, the eject button is once per battle. So, you know, you can't just brainlessly spam Fake Out E-Speed, Fake Out Last Resort anymore. You can still do it, but it's not as brainless as it is in Sweltering Sun, because that was probably the most broken offensive strategy in the game. The most consistent offensive strategy in Sweltering Sun is just like eject button into like Fake Out plus strong priority. It's really, really consistent and good, and easy to use. Obviously, everything's good, but it's easiest to use. So that's Midday form. I've been talking about that one too much. It's my favorite, if you can't tell. Dusk form I already touched on. Honestly, I covered all the recoil moves. It's pretty straightforward. The flavor for Reckless and Hustle I think makes sense on them. Hustle makes sense on the normal form to me. I just like the vibes on him. It's like enthusiastic little dog, right? Like he is like super fast, running around, and then the Dusk form is ferocious and temperamental and has that fighting spirit, so that's why I give it Reckless. And then Ruthless is good on the dark type, you know, the werewolf one, who's like, if you read the Pokedex, he's like an asshole, right? He's got like, he's an asshole. He's ruthless. I mean, technically, it literally says he's reckless, and oh, actually, I should give him Headlong Rush then. I took off Headlong Rush because I didn't really see it on Midnight form, but the Pokedex literally says it rushes headlong, so fuck it, I'll give it Headlong Rush, man. Level 52. Hold on, guys. Gotta zoom in a bunch here. So that he can keep Headlong Rush, that's fine. I don't know why that was kind of a dumb choice to remove it from him. Because in my head, he can't run on all fours as well as the others, but like, he still got Head Smash, so you can have Headlong Rush. Alright. Zoom back out. Hold on, guys. Sorry about this. I just gotta... Okay, and then I gotta go to the game files, find Lycanroc. Form 1, Rock Dark, yep. And then we're going to go to level 60, 52, throw on Headlong Rush at level 52. So that's good. Yeah, even like Weakness Policy, SD, E-Speed, plus 30 is really strong, you know? You get plus 4 attack in one turn and you just go crazy with E-Speed. Yeah, definitely pretty broken. Honestly, E-Speed could probably be a bit later on Midday form, but I like him. I'll let him cook. You know, don't think about which one is the best one. Just use the one you like, because I'm sure some people love the other two forms a lot more than I like the Midday one, and they're all good. So yeah, Midnight form in terms of guaranteed crit moves has access to Lash Out early on. Lash Out is 112.5 power with Ruthless and 75 power without it. That's a guaranteed crit. Meanwhile, Night Slash is a 50% crit, which requires a scope lens to be consistent. However, it is 180 power with Ruthless and 120 power without it. With the crit, without the crit, it's 80 power straight up. It doesn't crit, right? So you have to hold that scope lens, which means that it's only good on things that you can afford to either take a hit from or outspeed, which is, you know, a limited pool of things. But in a lot of situations, especially to one-shot like a bulkier Pokemon, it's really good to have that Night Slash. And also Jagged Edge, which is the same thing, but rock type. All of them have Jagged Edge, but of course Midnight form is the strongest with it because Midday form can hold scope lens and Hustle at the same time. Unless you have used Home Claws, which I just realized I kind of forgot to give them as well. Damn, man, I forget Home Claws exist sometimes. Because I just don't like setup, so sometimes my brain doesn't think about it that much. But yeah, I can throw that on like level 20. I don't even know where to put that. Here, I'll put this at 27. It's 25, sure, who cares? Maybe I'll put this here actually. Home Claws and Yawn. Just so Hustle's a bit better. I mean, you can abuse Home Claws that way. I mean, it's probably the least reliable way to use Hustle, funnily enough, because of the wide lens and the no missing moves being so much more consistent. But, you know, it's there if you want it. Now I have to add Home Claws to all of them real quick. It's going to be a second, guys. I mean, I think I've covered pretty much everything. I know I haven't, I lied. Midnight form has guaranteed crit Stone Edge and Wicked Blow and Temper Flare, which are all, and Soul Crush. Which are all the variants of one another, Wicked Blow variants, so those can't be used twice in a row. However, number one, Stone Edge's TM is much earlier. It's like in the mid-40s, right? So that's super early. Not to mention, it's still really strong. You just can't spam it with Choice Scarf. However, you can do some agility stuff and then alternate between your Ruthless options. You can do like Sash, Agility, Ruthless, and then just spam your 4 crit moves right there. You know, Wicked Blow, Stone Edge, Temper Flare, Soul Crush, and alternate between those. So that's all really good. I could also give him Brutal Bash, I just noticed. Yeah, I'll throw it on there, why not? Why not? Make him... yeah. Hold on, guys. I have so many things I have to add. Brutal Bash... So yeah, I don't know, there's really not too much else to talk about outside of that. Obviously, all the like Head Smash, Brutal Swing, Strength, like all these recoil moves are still good on Midnight form, even if he isn't actually... even if he isn't actually getting a boost on them from his ability, it's still like strong 120 power, moves. So, and of course you still can abuse 30 on all of them. Intimidate's great on all of them. So yeah, I really do think I've covered pretty much all the basics here, all the important things. Of course, there are other little nuances and little things I would like to touch on, but I don't have time in all these videos because I have to bulk record and schedule like 2 a fucking day. So, yeah, let me make sure I don't forget to add these. So I'm gonna end the video now so I don't forget to throw these on. Again, there's tons of coverage too. I guess I can quickly touch on other hustle stuff. Stomping Tantrum, First Impression, Acrobatics, Aerial Ace, Creeping Strike, and Lunge, and U-Turn. So tons of bug moves. So if you got like Terra Bug, Midday form, that'd be sick with First Impression and Lunge and U-Turn. I would love that. But in general, it's just good. Acrobatics is good, especially if you get a Terra type that matches one of these moves. I think it makes it extra cool. It's like, oh my god, I have a ground hustle stab or flying hustle stab, That's always fun. But in general, it's all good. So yeah, thanks for listening. Yeah, drop a comment if you made it to the end, guys. Other things, I guess there's some other 50% crit moves on Midnight form. So not only do you have that stab, Night Slash, and Jagged Edge, you've also got Cross Chop, Shadow Claw, Drill Run, Laceration, Slash, stuff like that. Yeah. Alright, y'all. Oh, and also Psycho Cut and X-Scissor. So that's all. And, you got your stab, Sucker Punch, and all that good shit, too. Alright, y'all. Peace. Thanks. Drop a comment if you made it to the end. Let me know.